Hi guys, welcome back to our four week four live meeting Google Class. Now, I before the meeting, more specifically about an hour ago, I just updated all your actual credits on your exam one. So guys, what I need you to do, go to your exam one grade, and then next to the grade there's a little comment on it. So if you click on the comment, and if you see where it says 5 points added from week 2 or week 3 actual credit, that means you got the 5 points. Now, if you don't see it, and then if you did participate in the live meeting last couple weeks, send me an email, and I will check on it. I will get you the credit. Okay, so do me a favor, check your grade on D12. Make sure you got the actual points from your live meeting in the last 2 weeks. And if you don't, then send me an email. I will check on it, and then I'll get you the points for it. And remember, every week you check in, that's 5 points extra on the test. So I think for some of you, I think Stephanie, you got 10 points added to your first test. And then guys, for this week, you'll be getting 5 points on your second test, which is next week. Okay, so for today, let's talk about chapter 8. So chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10, and chapter 11. All right, let me open the PowerPoint. Now, does anybody have any questions? No? Okay, I see many people online right now. Stephanie, you're online. Ashley, I got your email, and also I added the points for you. So if you do me a favor, check on it. You should be getting the 5 points. Okay, Natalie, you got the 5 points, and then Nafi, I think you got a 10 point or 5 points. Check on it. Jerry, you got your points too. Cameron, I don't think I saw your name before, so I don't think I added point for you. But if you did participate last 2 weeks, let me know, and I will check on it. Okay. All right, let's get started. Let's do chapter 7 or chapter 8 first. Chapter 8. All right, so chapter 8 is chapter 8 and chapter 9 is based off your chapter 7. It's based off chapter 7. And then for chapter 8, we're going to talk about the cause of taxation. Now remember chapter 7, you did the consumer surplus, producer surplus, and dairy loss. So chapter 8 is pretty much the same thing, but it's all coming from tax. So let's look at the graph over here. Now for this graph, before tax, the equilibrium price was at PE, equilibrium quantity was QE. And then remember, all tax does is creating a wedge between how much buyer pays and how much seller receive. So for this market, the buyer pays at PB, seller receive at PS. So buyer pays more, seller receive less now. And then because buyer pays more, so it's getting more expensive. So buyer will buy less, and then seller receive less. Therefore, they're going to produce less. So your quantity transaction also decrease from QE to QT. Now, guys, one more thing. If you're going to ask me a question, you can ask me a question on this page, on the handout page. You can also ask me a question by sending me a direct message on handout. That way I can see on my phone, and I will answer them right away. Okay. Let's see who's online. Okay. Am I live? Yeah, I'm live. All right. Oh, I didn't do the share screen with you guys, right? So I've been talking to myself this entire time. Man, you should let me know next time. All right, let me do a share screen. Share screen. That was embarrassing. All right, start sharing screen. Man, guys, you gotta tell me this when it happens, okay? So back to this graph over here. Equilibrium, it's a PE. Quantity demanded, or the quantity transaction is a QE, so that's before tax. And then with tax, you're creating a wedge between how much buyer pays and how much seller receive. So buyer pays PB, and then seller received PS. I still can't believe you guys didn't tell me my share screen wasn't on. All right. This area over here, this pink area, is our tax revenue. All right. Who is it? Okay, camera, I will check on it. I will check on it. If you send me an email, I should be able to receive it. I don't know why I didn't reply to you, but I will check on it. So after the meeting, I will check on it. I'll send you an email. Okay. All right. Let's continue. All right. Let me see. So before tax, your consumer surplus. Remember, consumer surplus is the saving by consumers. So this will be the area below your demand curve, above your price line. So before tax, the price is at PE, and then your consumer surplus is area A, B, and C. And then for producers, your producer surplus will be below the price line, above the supply curve. So there will be area D, E, and F. And therefore, your total surplus will be area A, B, C, D, E, F. All right. Now, with tax, the price for buyer will be increased to PB, and then the price for sellers will be decreased to PS. So when that happens, the consumer surplus will be less. So consumer surplus will be just area A, and then the producer's surplus will be also less, and it's only area F now. And with the tax, the consumers lose area B and C, and then producer lose area D and E. Now, however, the area B and D, so this area over here, this is our tax revenue. So government is getting some extra revenues. So now your total surplus is area A, B, D, F. Now, however, if you notice that for area C and area E, now area C used to belong to consumers, but now nobody has it. And then area E used to belong to the producers, and now nobody has it either. So between C and E, or those two together, this is called the dead weight loss. So dead weight loss, by definition, is the fall in total surplus that's resulted from market distortions such as tax. You can also think dead weight loss as the inefficiency in the marketplace when there is a tax involved. So in most cases, tax is inefficient for the market. Now, unless you go to chapter 10, it'll give you different examples for, let's say, a negative externality. Then sometimes tax can be good, but in most cases, tax will be creating more dead weight loss or more inefficiency in the marketplace. Okay, all right. Now let me see. Let's continue. All right, so elasticity. Now, for elasticity, what you need to remember is that elasticity depends on, or the dead weight loss depends on the size of the elasticity. So in other words, that if your elasticity is high, then consumer behave very aggressively to price change, then your dead weight loss will be more. And then if your elasticity is low, then consumer don't care about price change, then dead weight loss will be less. So the size of the dead weight loss will depend on the elasticity of the market. So between both your buyer and sellers, if there's a very high elasticity, dead weight loss will be more. And if there's a very low elasticity, dead weight loss will be less. All right, and then next, let me see what else needs to be covered from chapter. This is it for chapter 8. So chapter 8 is a pretty short chapter. And then next, let's look at chapter 10. Let me reload this tab. Did I already start this? Yeah, it's live session. Huh. Okay, I'm questioning myself now. Okay, Stephanie, I see you. You are watching this video. Let's start chapter 9. All right, so chapter 9, we're going to talk about trade. Now, remember, trade from chapter 1, it says trade can benefit everybody, and then trade actually does benefit the entire economy. Now, however, that then if you look at different group of the economy, trade always creating more winners and always creating some losers. But the gain from trainers, oh, the gain from winners will outweigh the losses from losers. Now, let's continue. So know what's a world price? World price is the price that everybody else pays for, and then PD is your domestic price. That's how much you are paying or how much the home price is. And if anytime your domestic price is less than world price, then that means you can produce this good cheaper than you export this good. And then vice versa, if your domestic price is lower than world price, that means you should import this good, because you're getting more expensive and everybody else that's cheaper. Okay. All right, so let's look at this graph over here. So for this graph, the market, show me here. All right, so for the soybean market, before trade, the equilibrium price was at $4, quantity was 500. Now with trade, the world price will be at $6. At $6, that means everybody else sell for more expensive, and then we sell for cheaper. So what should we do? We're gonna export this good because we can do it cheaper. Now, when export this good, when looking for how many unit, how much you're gonna export, don't compare to equilibrium anymore. So this quantity 500, do not compare to 500 anymore. And when looking for the number of export, you want to go to the same price level. So at $6, now our total supply is at 750. Our total demand is at 300. Then the number of export will be 450. Okay, so we're gonna export 450 units. And then let's look at the surplus. So before trade, when the price was at $4, before trade, your consumer surplus was area A and B, and then your producer surplus is area C over here. That's producers. So your total surplus is area A, B, and C. Now with trade, the price will be increased to $6. So with trade, this soybean become more expensive, and when the price goes up, that means your consumers are worse off because we're paying a higher price now. So consumers, our new consumer surplus is only area A. So consumers, we're losing area B, so we're getting worse off. But for producers, at a higher price, producers can make a more profit. So for producers, their surplus is going to be area B, D, and C. So this green triangle over here, that's our producer surplus. And then your total surplus is now area A, B, C, D. And then if you notice that this area D over here, we didn't have this before trade, but now we have it with trade. So this area D is called gains from trade. And because of area D, then we know that trade can benefit everybody more as a collective, okay? But still, your consumer lose, but the loss from consumer is smaller than the gain from producers. So put it together, that the entire economy still gains from trade. And that's the area of D. All right. Any questions? Anybody? No questions? All right, if no question, let's continue. Now, for this graph over here, this will be an import market. Now, the reason why is that your domestic price was $3,000. Your world price is $1,500. That means everybody else does it cheaper. So if everybody else does it cheaper, what should we do? We should buy them for everybody else. So we're going to import the good. And then once you import, your number of import, you're going to compare the same price level. So at 1,500, then we're going to import 600. Oh, we're going to demand 600 units, and our producers only produce 200 units. Then the difference over there, that's our number of import. So we're going to import 400 units. And then once you import, this little triangle over here, that's your new gain from trade once you import. Okay, so even if you import, the entire economy is also better off. All right, now let me see what else important. This is important. So know what's a tariff. Tariff is also called tax on import. So anytime you have a tax on import, that's a tariff. And then what tariff does, tariff will increase the price the buyer pays in this market. And then what that means if you, let's say we talk about this market for cotton shirts. So the market for cotton shirt, before tariff, the world price is at $20. And then let's say we put a $10 tariff on there. Now, when that happens, the new price for consumers will be the world price $20 plus the tariff of $10. So the new price will be at a $30. So how much consumer pays will be increased. Now, let's say for this market over here, for this market, so for market for cotton shirts, so before tariff, with no tariff, it's called free trade. So remember, free trade means you have no government intervention. So whatever happens, that is the war price. So with free trade, the war price persists, then we're gonna be, paying $20 for our cotton shirts, and then the quantity demanded will be 80 unit. So our consumer want to buy 80 unit of cotton shirts, and then for producers, they only produce 25 unit. And then the difference over here, this is our number of imports. That's 55 unit of t-shirt. Now with the tariff, you're gonna push the price higher from 20 to 30. At $30, when the price getting more expensive, consumer buys less. So before we were buying 80 unit, but now only buying 70 unit. But however, for producers, before they were only producing 25 unit, but now they're producing 40 unit. So producers produce more, consumer buys less, and then the number of import will be decreased from 55 to only 30 units of import. Now let's look at how this tariff does to the surpluses. So at free trade, price of $20, then your consumer surplus will be this big triangle over here. That's your consumer surplus. So A, B, C, D, E, F, that's your consumer surplus. And then producer surplus is area G. And then total surplus is all together. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, with the tariff, the price will be pushed to $30. So it goes from 20 to 30. Now, at the price of 30, your consumer surplus is only area A and B. Your producer surplus is area C and G. So with the tariff at a higher price, our producers gains. Now, however, your area E over here, this area E, this is number of import of 30 unit. Each one's charged a tariff of $10. So this area over here, this is our tax revenue from tariff. So this is to government. And then your total surplus is consumer surplus A and B, producer surplus C and G, plus E, that's a total surplus. And if you notice that this D and F over here, it used to belong to the consumer surplus and total surplus, but now nobody has it now, and it's not even part of our total surplus. So this D and F is called the dead weight loss. So with a tariff, tariff will be creating more dead weight loss in the economy. So tariff, like most tax, is also very, very inefficient. Okay. All right, let's continue. Also known as a quota. So quota is the difference between a tariff and a quota. Quota is the hard limit on how much you can import. Tariff is a soft limit. So with a quota, we really put a limit on how many, like the quantities on how much we can import. Now, however, tariff is more preferred over quota, because for tariff, our government can still collect this tax revenue. With quota, government cannot collect anything for tax revenues. So because of that reason, tariff is more preferred over quota. Okay, all right. Let me see what else I need to cover for chapter 9. That's it for chapter 9. And then next, let's look at chapter 10. All right, so chapter 10. Chapter 10 is mostly definition. And then if you notice on the Mind tab homework help, there isn't that much videos on chapter 10. So if you run into any questions, you don't know how to answer, just let me know, ask me questions, okay? But it's most definitions. Now, what you need to know for chapter 10, so know what's the externality. So externality is the uncompensated impact of one person's action on the well-being of a bystander. So it's whatever you do that have an effect on other people, that's called externality. Now, for externality, you can have either a positive externality, which is a good thing, or a negative externality. Now, let me give you an example. Suppose I like to eat cheese. Now, I will pay for my own cheese, so you don't have to pay for me. Now, in this transaction, that I pay for my own cheese, eat my own cheese, does not feel problem. So does everything's fair, right? So there's no, uncompensated impact because I'm eating cheese that have an impact on your quality of life. Now, however, if I eat my cheese and then I decide to fart, and you're in the same room with me, and guess what? My cheese consumption will have an impact on your quality of life. So that will be called externality. Now, in that case, there will be a negative externality. Okay. Um, Now, if you want to know how to identify each one, let me show you this. If anytime, if your social cost, this green line over here, if your social cost is more than your private cost, so supply curve is higher, this will be a negative externality. And then vice versa, if your social demand, let me see an example for it. So if your social demand is more than your private demand, so the demand curve is higher, this will be a positive externality. Okay, so supply is higher, that's a negative. Demand higher, that's a positive. Let me see. Okay, so that's it for chapter 10, because it's not that much to go over for chapter 10. And let's look at chapter 11. So the last chapter for this week. All right, chapter 11, the public good and common resource. So know the difference between excludable and also rival in consumption. So excludable, it means that you can exclude somebody from consuming this good. That's called excludable. Rival in consumption, that means if one person's use of the good would diminish the quality of consumption for the other person. Now, example for excludable, pretty much everything you buy is excludable. So when you go to Costco, Walmart, Kroger, whatever you buy for your grocery, you pay for it. That is yours. Nobody else can use it. That's called excludable. So you can exclude other people from consuming this good. Now, rival in consumption is anytime you have this congestion problem. That's called rival in consumption. So if you are using it, and if somebody else using it, and because somebody else using this same good have impact on your consumption, there'll be rival in consumption. So one example you can think of, let's say 59. So if you go on to 59 at 4:30 every afternoon, you're going to be running into congestions. That's called rival in consumption. So because everybody else on the highway, it would decrease my quality of use. That's rival in consumption. Okay. All right, so make sure you know this for. Make sure you know the difference between your private good, public good, common resource, and club good. So private good is excludable and also rival in consumption. So food example. And then a public good will be non-excludable and also doesn't suffer from rival in consumption. So for example, your national defense will be public good, and also your PBS, your Channel 2, those would be all public good, because you cannot exclude somebody from consuming this good, and also when other people consume this good, it doesn't affect your quality of consumption. Your public parks are not public goods, because public parks, even though it's not excludable, but public parks still suffers from rival in consumption, because once it gets too congested, then your quality consumption goes down. Now, common resource, there will be your public parks. because it's a rival, but it's not excludable. So you cannot exclude somebody from going to public parks. But if there are too many people in the public parks, then your quality consumption goes down. A club good is anything that's excludable but not rival in consumption. So cable TV, like HBO's, CNN, ESPN, those would be club goods. That means you had to pay for it to watch it, but once you watch it, and if everybody all watch at the same time, it wouldn't lower your quality of consumption. So it's not rival, but it is excludable. Therefore, they are club goods. Okay, so know those. Let me see what else. Know what's a free rider. So free rider is anybody who enjoy the benefit but don't pay for the cost. Now you can also call them freeloaders. So I think pretty much everybody is a free rider at some time in your life. I mean, if even most of you guys, you're a free rider, and I'm a free rider too, and this is the reason why. Now, when you guys grew up watching Sesame Street on PBS, we didn't pay for them because even though they're public TV channels, but they still have those donation drive from time to time, and then when that happens, most people just switch channel. We don't give them money, so we're all free riders. Then we enjoy the show, so we enjoy the benefit, but we don't pay for it. So we're all free rider for the public goods. All right, let me see what else. I think that's it for chapter 11. All right, does anybody have any question at this time? No? Okay, so if no questions, make sure work on this 4-chapter quiz. And then remember, every chapter quiz, you have multiple attempts. So what I'm seeing so far that for many of you guys, once you get like a very good grade, like a 90 or 100 on the quiz, and many of you just stop right there. Don't stop. Just keep going, and then do more twice. If you have to, do all the tries. Get it, even if you get 100, still work on more problems, because the more problem you work on doing the quiz, the more problem you get familiar yourself with. And then when you look at the test, many of the questions are coming directly from the quiz. So the more attempt you do on the quiz, the easier a test is. Okay, so work on the quizzes, and then don't forget the discussions. And also just a reminder, for those of you who is watching now, or for those of you who will be watching later, check your exam 1 grade. If you participated in this online meetings for the last 2 weeks, you should be getting your extra points on there. Click on the notes section next to the grade. It will tell you if you're getting the 5 points or not. Now, if you don't see anything on it, and if you did participate in the last 2 weeks, send me an email, let me know, and I will put the points on there for you. Okay. And then for those of you who's watching right now, for this week, this will be added to your exam 2. So you'll be getting 5 points on exam 2 for this time. Now, anybody have any questions? No questions? All right. So if no questions, good luck. Have a nice weekend. Don't forget, this weekend is tax-free weekend. So whatever you want to buy, well, obviously, if you buy a car, that wouldn't be tax-free. But if you want to buy some school supplies, some everyday clothes, go buy them. It's tax-free. Okay. So good luck shopping. Good luck on your quizzes. And have any question, let me know. All right, guys. Talk to you guys later. Bye.